My wife Eleanor died on a quiet Wednesday morning, the kind of morning that feels disrespectful in its calm. No thunder, no dramatic sky, just sunlight slipping through hospital blinds and landing on a woman who had carried an empire on her shoulders for 42 years. By Friday, the condolences had dried up. By Saturday, the knives came out. By Sunday, my daughter decided I was already dead. I am Harold Monroe. I am 74 years old. And until 3 days after my wife's funeral, I believed blood meant loyalty. I was wrong. The funeral. Rain fell politely that day, soft, steady, almost considerate. We stood under black umbrellas at Greenwood Cemetery while the pastor spoke about legacy, devotion, and eternal rest. Words that sounded nice, but meant nothing to the people standing closest to me. I felt it before I saw it. That cold impatience beside me. My daughter, Serena, stood 2 feet away. Perfect posture. Designer black coat. Her makeup untouched by grief. She checked her watch twice during the eulogy. Not her mother's watch. Mine. A gold Patek Philippe Eleanor had given me after our first company acquisition. Her husband, Marcus, leaned toward her and whispered something. I caught the last part. Once probate clears. My wife wasn't even in the ground yet. Something inside me hardened. What they never knew. Everyone thought Eleanor was the genius. The media loved her. Charity boards adored her. Business magazines printed her smile next to words like visionary and self-made. I was the quiet one. The architect. The numbers man. The one who never gave interviews. They didn't know I restructured the supply chain. They didn't know I moved assets offshore before regulations changed. They didn't know I drafted the contingency clauses, including Clause 9B. But we'll get to that. The ride home. After the burial, the cars lined up. I reached for the first sedan. Marcus stepped in front of me without looking up from his phone. Second car, Harold, he said casually. Serena and I need privacy. Business calls. Business. At my wife's funeral. I nodded and stepped back. Humiliation doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers. The house. Our home sat at the end of a curved driveway. Limestone, ivy-covered, restored by my own hands. Or so I thought. 3 suitcases waited on the driveway. Mine. Wet. Open. One spilling clothes into a puddle. Serena stood on the porch. Dry. Untouchable. This is a misunderstanding, I said. No, she replied. This is a transition. She said it like a corporate memo. The sentence. Mom's estate transferred, she continued. You're not listed as a primary beneficiary. Marcus smiled and filmed. You were her husband, Serena said. Not her successor. Then she said the sentence that ended our relationship forever. You don't serve a purpose anymore. She tossed cash at my feet. Not enough to insult me. Enough to humiliate me. Go somewhere small, she added. Quiet. Somewhere people won't notice you fading. I placed my keys on the step and walked away. The motel. The motel smelled like regret and disinfectant. I sat on the bed and checked my accounts. Locked. All of them. She'd moved fast. She thought speed was intelligence. She was wrong. The call. I dialed one number. It rang once. David, I said. Silence. Then, where are you? Motel, I replied. She erased me. David Klein had been my attorney for 35 years. He laughed softly. Did she read the second codicil? No. Good. The weekend of arrogance. They celebrated. Parties. Social media. Champagne from my cellar. Marcus wore my watch in a photo captioned. New chapter. Old weight gone. They spent money they didn't own. Signed contracts they didn't understand. Triggered clauses they didn't know existed. Monday morning. 10 a.m. David's office. Glass walls. Long table. Serena arrived glowing. Marcus arrived greedy. They ignored me. Until David spoke. The will. Before we proceed, David said, I need to clarify something. He turned to Serena. Did you read the entire will? Yes, she snapped. Every page. Of course. Even the addendum dated 6 months ago? Silence. David slid a document forward. Clause 9B. The lesson. Any beneficiary found guilty of elder abuse, illegal eviction, financial coercion, public humiliation of a surviving spouse, would forfeit all claims immediately. Assets would be redirected to pre-selected charitable organizations. Serena laughed until she read the names. Animal shelters, education funds, employee pension trusts. None of them hers. The end. She screamed. Marcus ran. Security escorted them out. I stood slowly. David shook my hand. Where will you go? He asked. I smiled. Home. Epilogue. I live in the house again. Quiet now. I fund scholarships. I volunteer at the shelter. Serena sends letters. I don't open them. Dignity, once lost, can be reclaimed. But trust? Never. When Serena was escorted out of the conference room, she didn't scream immediately. That came later. At first, she just stood there, frozen, as if the words on the paper were written in a language she didn't recognize. Her lips moved, silently rereading Clause 9b again and again, like repetition alone could change reality. Marcus was the first to react. This is a joke, he barked, slamming his palm on the table. You can't just give $55 million to dog kennels and school libraries. David Klein didn't flinch. They're not kennels, he replied calmly. They're registered charities. And yes, I can. Because your wife triggered the clause herself. Serena finally looked up at me. For the first time in 3 days. She looked afraid. The moment she realized. You planned this, she said, her voice cracking. I didn't answer right away. I simply adjusted my cufflinks. The same silver pair Eleanor gave me the year we opened our first overseas factory. I plan to protect myself, I said finally. From exactly this. Her face twisted. You manipulated Mom. I laughed. Not loudly. Not cruelly. Just enough to remind her who she was talking to. Your mother was 10 steps ahead of both of us, I said. You just never bothered to ask her why. David slid another document across the table. This, he said, is the notarized affidavit from Mr. Monroe describing the eviction, corroborated by security footage, neighbor statements, and your own social media posts. Marcus's face drained of color. You filmed him, David continued, and uploaded it. That alone qualifies as public humiliation of a surviving spouse. Serena's knees buckled. She sat down hard. The collapse. So what do I get? She whispered. David closed the folder. You receive your personal belongings, he said. Anything purchased before your mother's death using your own funds. No trust income. No estate distributions. No dividends. Marcus exploded. You ruined us, he shouted at me. We already put down deposits. I met his eyes. That sounds like a personal problem. Security appeared at the door. Mr. and Mrs. Blake, David said coldly. You are no longer clients of this firm. They were escorted out. This time, Serena looked back. I didn't. The aftermath. The news didn't break publicly right away. David made sure of that. He gave Serena exactly 1 week to vacate the house. Legally. Formally. Painfully. During that week, I stayed in a furnished apartment downtown. I didn't rush back. I wanted the house to remember who truly belonged to it. Russo kept me informed. Marcus tried to liquidate assets. Failed. Serena tried to contest the will. Failed. They tried to borrow against expected inheritance. Laughed out of the banks. One lender reportedly asked Marcus, did you actually read the documents you signed? Poetic. The house reclaimed. I returned on a Thursday morning. The house was quiet. Too quiet. The grand piano lid was scratched. The Persian rug was stained with wine. My office smelled like cheap cologne and stale ego. But the walls were still standing. And so was I. I walked room to room slowly, reclaiming memory after memory. In the master bedroom, Eleanor's scarf still hung on the bedpost. I sat down, and for the first time since her death, I cried. Serena's last attempt. 2 weeks later, she showed up unannounced. No designer coat. No entourage. Just desperation. She stood at the gate, eyes red, hands shaking. I just want to talk, she said. I stayed behind the iron bars. Talk, I said, is what you do before you throw someone out in the rain. She swallowed. Marcus left. I said nothing. He blamed me, she continued. Said I miscalculated. I raised an eyebrow. Did you? Her voice broke. I didn't think you'd fight back. There it was. The truth. The line. I didn't fight back, I said quietly. I prepared. She reached through the gate. Dad, please. I stepped back. You stopped being my daughter the moment you told me to go die somewhere else. Her hand fell. I turned and walked away. What became of them? Marcus filed for bankruptcy within 6 months. The Ferrari deposit? Non-refundable. The Hamptons property? Never closed. Serena tried to reinvent herself. Influencer. Consultant. Victim. None of it stuck. People in our circles remembered. Quietly. Permanently. What became of me? I stayed. I restored the house again. This time alone. I established the Eleanor Monroe Scholarship. I visit the shelter every Sunday. There's a gray cat there. He likes my lap. We understand each other. Final reflection. People think revenge is loud. It isn't. Real revenge is watching someone lose everything because they underestimated your silence.